Welcome back to the Expert Scale Show, and boy, do we have a treat today. Two of my favorite people, Mahoney and Anik Singal in the studio. What's up, guys? How you doing over there?
Ready to go.
Ready to go with your pink sparkly microphone. That's basically the best Mahoney edition only piece of swag ever. How do they buy that, Molly? If
My
somebody's like, I
husband
want
made
to
it for
be
me
like
as a
Molly.
surprise. It was like for months he kept saying, "Oh, I like what you're wearing. It's going to match what I'm making you for your birthday." I was like, "What is he doing?" And then this is what it was: a Shure 55, fully bedazzled. I used to use it for our jazz band, and then it was sitting in a box, and I was like, "Why don't I actually use that online?" So here we are. Yeah,
that's awesome. I love
Only
it.
Molly Mahoney. Only you could pull that off, and you pulled.
I was just
so
gonna say
well.
I can't pull that off. I mean, I could try, but it would look really weird.
You'd have to maybe do like just one solid color with the sparkles, but you could do it. You could do it.
We need to figure out what a branded Anik microphone looks like. 30-second brainstorm. What does a branded Anik microphone
Like
look
a fist. Just
The fighter! Yes, it's a boxing glove, dude. The boxing glove microphone. Why does this not exist?
yes, we can make one.
Pervok, we need to put that on the list. Just saying. All right, guys. Well, we have a really fun topic lined up for today, too. We've been talking for literally the last year with our internal community of experts about this trust recession we're in, right? How it is, paid traffic costs are going up. It is getting harder in some ways if you're using old tactics to achieve the same conversions, right? There's also a particular breed of expert entrepreneur that I know we've all noticed who are thriving in the midst of this. And so today we want to give kind of our online community a bit of a window into what we're seeing working now and a little bit some of our in the lab experiments of what we believe will work over the next 18 to 24 months. So that's the tee up for today's conversation. Why don't we talk just a little bit as a start for anybody who's not familiar, maybe they're an expert and they literally are just on an island somewhere, and for a long time they just printed money and they're like, why is my webinar not working? Why is my course launches not going the way they used to? Why is nobody showing up for my whatever live streams? Can we take a few minutes and can you guys just take us into some of the trends and patterns you guys have seen over the last few years that we're kind of codifying as this trust recession, and maybe give some examples? Who's first?
Ladies first. Go for it, Molly.
Yeah, I mean, I think really a lot of it comes down to market sophistication because people know the tricks, right? The things that we used to be able to just the things that we could go to, like I know, have you fallen and you can't get up? Like those types of ads that worked because and then became cliche and became gimmicky because they worked. But now with the dawn of AI, all of the things, like marketers ruin everything, as we know. And so with all the tricks that have been put into the internet on the marketing side of things, that is what AI is pulling from to create now that same type of copy, that same type of strategy at massive scale. And so I think all of our little scam radars are ding, 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 ding. Even if it's something that actually was written by a human that came from a human that was actually in the past potentially a great strategy. I think we know, like, yeah, okay, we had this promotion that we did with a partner recently, and they wanted us to send out an email that said the live webinar is about to begin, and then have it go to a page that was like, select your time for the live webinar in the next 15 minutes, which we know it's not live. So like a huge thing that I've really committed to is to tell the truth. Apparently, that's actually the new way to actually get more sales. Not only is it a way to be a good human. So for me, it's the market sophistication. Like people they know when you are being a trickster. So tell the truth. Oh my gosh. And Anik, I haven't told you this yet, but I was at an event recently. Richard, you're going to love this too. And I was sitting with a friend. I will tell you who it was in a moment, sitting next to me at the table. And he said that the thing that has done the best for their conversions, I cannot believe I didn't tell you this. The thing that has done the best for their conversions has actually been Complyy, because this is not, I didn't plan this, because he said what it's done is it's helped them to write more like humans, which
Was it Ed Diamond?
it was Ed Diamond.
Yeah. Yeah, I knew exactly. Yeah, he's one of our biggest advocates, and he uses it well, and he uses it a lot, and sure enough, it pays off.
Yeah.
Wow, thank you. Yeah, thanks for sharing that.
Yeah.
That's
There you
awesome.
go.
And Ed, if
Yeah.
you're listening, what up? Thanks, man, for the
What up?
support and constant
For
shout
anybody who
outs.
doesn't know who's listening, Complyly is one of the softwares you own, Anik, and the
Yeah.
30-second headliner on that is it helps you actually monitor your sales and marketing efforts for compliance, and it actually helps you identify ways you can become compliant in your copy, your sales calls, etc. And so, what a cool inversion of like most people going to compliance for fear and realizing that actually in the current environment, it actually converts better. And Anik,
Yeah.
you've been saying that for like a year, so that might be literally just a jumping point for you.
Yes, and shout out to Jeff Hunter. We just partnered at Complyly with Jeff Hunter. So now, within the next about 3 to 4 months, Complyly will not only review your existing content, marketing material, sales calls, videos, webinars, and then suggest ways to make it compliant. It will actually just flat out create compliant marketing for you from the beginning. So we actually partner with Jeff. He's done some great agents around that. And so we're bringing those into Complyly and modifying them and adding 2 layers of compliance onto them. So we're working hard here to give marketers the solutions they need. I couldn't agree more with Molly. I would say transparency and relationship is what it's coming down to completely. And anybody, okay, I'm going to use someone as an example. He might be watching this. I don't think he would mind me using him, and I hope he doesn't, but he's a dear friend, one of the best marketers I've ever met, worked with, whatever. But him and I are on the polar opposites of. He is the most hardcore direct marketer you're ever going to meet. I mean, he is all about numbers, data, dollar in, two out, like, 60-day window, hit, fine tuning, CRO, conversion. I mean, like literally direct marketing. Put a picture of him in the book for direct marketing. And I have been for so long, to the degree that I actually bought the domain name interactivemarketing.com for $10,000 years ago, because I've been out there for years saying, guys, direct marketing is evolving, and I believe it's becoming interactive marketing. I think direct marketing, because back in the day of direct marketing, it was one-way communication, right? You'd send out letters, you'd do infomercials, now it's all interactive. Direct marketing now on a Facebook ad or on any form of social media or an email you send out, people can engage with it. They can reply to it, and those engagements get recorded. And then the big brother companies like Facebook and Google and all use the data of those engagements to determine whether they like you or not and whether they're going to continue to allow you to reach their audience or not. So all of that engagement is interaction. And so the consumer has so much more control over your future. And so it really comes down to transparency and that relationship. So transparency lines up literally perfectly with what Molly said. Just tell the damn truth. Look, when I walk into a car dealership, 99 times out of 100, yeah, I'm looking to buy a car. I know that guy is going to want to sell me a car. I know he gets commission if he sells me a car. Like, I know this. And if he comes up and he's like, I'm just here to help you, man. My mission is to make you have shut up, dude. No, you're not. You're here to sell me a damn car and make some money. Let's just get that out of the way. So what I would love is the salesperson comes up to me and says, hey, love that you're here. You obviously know I make money when you buy a car. But my job is to make that process easier for you. If I can get the perfect car in front of you, you'll buy it faster. So really, right now, my job is to figure out which is the perfect car for you. But both our goals are aligned. If I find you the perfect car, you buy it quickly.
That diffuses all of the issue that comes up around it, like 100%.
Everything, right? If I find you the perfect car, you're gonna buy it faster. Helps me. If I find you the perfect car, helps you. So that's my job here. And like all of a sudden, the person's like, cool, thanks. Like, yeah, let's go. And so that's how I approach pretty much all my sales situations now. So Jason and I, right, we just did this big webinar, and people who are saying webinars are dead, whatever. I spent tens of thousands of dollars marketing it to cold markets, warm markets. We had 6,000 plus people registered. We had 4,000 registered for the first webinar. I mean, we got 2,000 more before the second one. And on the first one, we had over a 20% show rate, 25 almost % show rate. And so people are there saying, like, and that is epic for a live at that scale. Like, people got to understand thousands of registrations. And when we started the webinar, we're like, hey, this is literally how Jason and I started. We're like, hey, this webinar is an experiment. We are completely going against the grain of what everyone does. We're going to teach the crap out of you, which is not what we typically tell people to do. We're going to deliver a ton of value, and then we're going to sell you something at the end of it. We hope you buy. A lot of you probably won't. Most of you won't, and that's okay. But the ones who decide this is for them, you'll buy. And listen, we're either going to be rock stars today and do really well and succeed, or we're going to bomb. Either way, you get entertainment and value. How's that sound, everybody? Everyone's just losing their shit. They're like, yeah, it's awesome, blah, blah, blah. They're like asking for the pitch, and the webinar converted epically well, and everything was great. But I'm laughing because if I go back and watch a webinar I did 10 years ago, it would never be that transparent, right? Because we weren't taught to be that way. So first and foremost, truth, transparency, get out ahead of it. Everybody knows what you're there for. Stop pretending like anything else is the case. Just tell them what you're there for, okay? Right now, we're getting registrations for the Agentic AI Summit. The tickets are free. I'm very open with people. I'm like, hey, man, I want to blow your mind away. I want to introduce you to the project, the company I'm working on, and I hope by the end of it that you would choose to invest some money into the company, as little as $1,000. If you don't, that's okay. But I hope you do. And people go, oh, okay. Well, shit, now I understand your motive and like makes sense why you're doing the event. Like I'm all game, right? And I'm like, oh, by the way, if I throw a shitty event and it's not full of tremendous value and a lot of fun, you wouldn't invest. So obviously I have to bring my A game. And they're like, oh yeah, wow, right? So transparency can be used as a way to validate and counter objections when you show them that yes, you might have a motive, but that motive is actually aligned with their desire and motive as well. And now you're both on the same page. Now, the last piece of it I'll say is relationship. People are just getting hit left and right. I mean, there's competition out there, and our younger generations, right? It's crazy, man. I have employees who come work for me that go, "Who's Robert Kiyosaki?" And I'm just like, right? Or they go, "Who's Akon?" Or who's a lot of the stories I tell them, the people I talk. I'm old now. I'm like, shit, But they're bringing their consumer behavior into the market, and the younger generations are driven by values, they're driven by believing in the brand, and they need a persona and an avatar of the brand. They buy into that. They don't care to save money, spend more, spend less. They're about the values. And so this is why that relationship element is becoming key, is because people are making buying decisions now. Largely, how many of my investors at Agentic AI, I'm doing these interviews, which Molly did an interview with me, and it's so funny because I'm like, why'd you invest in Agentic AI? They're like, because of you.
Yeah.
And one of my investors was like, honestly, Anik, I'm going to be frank with you. I don't even know what the hell you're doing. I don't really get it. And I'm like, don't say that.
Well, you
on
know
the
what? And
interview.
also, like, just to highlight on that, I said because of you, and I mentioned other people who I knew had worked with you in the past. So that relationship piece is not the one-to-one, it's the web of relationships that we build as well,
it's
because
brand.
that's how we
it's
really
brand.
Absolutely, right? Absolutely.
Well,
100%.
and it's
So
brand, but also like
relationship is
the other
key.
humans, like individual humans that know individual humans. It all like ties together.
I want to add one last piece, and I want to talk about this piece about people's preconceived notion that AI is creating this challenge, and AI is creating this desire people have for the more intimate connect to people. It's not. I'm just being honest with you. It has nothing to do with it. This started years ago, before AI was becoming a big thing. It might be accelerating it, so I shouldn't say it's not contributing to it at all, but it's not why it's happening. Now, number two, I'm getting 25 million views a month right now using purely AI. There's an AI video version of me, then there's written content that's assisted by AI and reviewed by me and my team, but mostly AI. And nobody cares. It's some of my most viral content. As a matter of fact, I get pissed because sometimes when I'm writing content now, nobody gives a crap. And when I use AI to write it, it goes viral. It's annoying. But I don't hide it. My shorts literally say, brought to you by Digital Anik, AI Anik. My long form says, hey, this is AI Anik. While the real Anik's out there building his dreams, building the company, I'm here to teach you. And guess what? Those are my most viewed, most commented, most liked, most viral videos. I'm upfront about it. As long as the information is unique and good, and has its spin that comes from the content creator. So my AI Anik speaks like me, knows like me, thinks like me, adds my thoughts to a topic. People don't care. But you gotta still bring you, and you gotta be transparent. Don't try to pass it off as if it's you, because right now AI, video, and stuff hasn't gotten that good. Probably 6 months it will be, but right now people can still tell, and just own up to it.
I love that you wove together their honesty, transparency. I think there's also this element of vulnerability. I was just listening about a podcast that talked about the trust issue. And I love where you ended that, which is holding these values that are often, or let's say in the past, counter to how a lot of direct marketers and experts were taught to market, right? So it's the inversion of that. But then now there's like that paired with the force multiplier of AI. So you keep the values, the authenticity, the transparency, the honesty, but then what does that look like to then use AI while holding those values? And what do you guys see that looking like for experts? How do experts need to be thinking about how to use and exploit AI while maintaining those values you guys just preached?
I think you need to have a system behind it. It's not something that is just like going to happen on its own. First of all, you have to get clear about who you actually are as a human being. What's that foundational thing? What do you stand for as a company? What do you stand for as a brand? And one thing that I think, Anik, you're doing so well, especially with you and Jason, I noticed this and I loved it. The aspect of play as well, like bringing the fun into it, bringing the playfulness into it. And how do you go back and rather than, I think some people end up being that like conscious or unconscious or what do you call it? Conscious confident? What is it? You know what I'm talking about?
Unconscious competence.
Thank you. That's what it is. You've got to, if you're a great, communicator or relationship person as a human being, you may not know how to actually translate that into the AI. So we have two different versions of this problem. One is the people who are actually good as human beings at being human beings. We also have people who get freaked out because they feel that they have this like drab gray personality that they don't actually have anything to weave into the AI. So I think we have to balance both of those sides. And in both sides, you have to actually identify what is it that you stand for? What is it that makes you as a human, you as a company unique and different? And then take that and put it into a system that you can actually duplicate, because it's not just going to come up with it on its own. If you're someone who doesn't have loads of content in the past, you may have to actually do some inner work to figure out what that is so that you can develop that personality, develop that brand. If you already have loads of content out there, there's systems and things that you can use to analyze your own work to come up with those things. But we use something called the spotlight effect that really identifies all of these different triggers that you can put into the AI system so that they really do truly represent that more personal side of the values and the transparency and all of that. And weaving in the story is so important as well. The stories have always been something since cavemen that have been important. But if we don't bring those into these AI systems, then we're all going to sound like zombies talking to zombies.
Oh my God. In the middle of, there was like this perfect time. I'm going to take this recording, and there's like this snippet where Molly was basically selling Eugentic IQ without knowing she's selling Eugentic IQ. Like, that is exactly what Eugentic IQ does. We've created multiple layers where we not only clone your brain, but we properly clone your personality and who you are. So what we're saying at Eugentic IQ as it launches in September is that, hey, we don't just, like, there's a lot of tools to do the video and audio, and we eventually will, but right now that's not our goal. Right now our goal is to clone your brain. That's what we really want to do. So we want to get the info and that voice and the style out by studying your history of content. And for those who say, I don't have it, we allow them to create one inside of Eugentic IQ. Anyways, so I want to come talk, first of all, I agree with everything Molly said, but I want to talk about the vulnerability aspect of what you just talked about, Richard, and give a prime example. This ties in with everything Molly said, where she talked about story, you talked about vulnerability, and then how I'm using AI for this. So one of my personal dreams for the longest time, people don't know this, it's been on my bucket list, is to do a stand-up act, stand-up comedy. And I don't know why. You know, if you know me in person, like outside of the stage, I'm pretty dry. Like, I'm not really a guy dropping jokes all the time, but I can turn it on. I can turn it on stage. I can turn it on in a social setting if I need to. I've always just felt like it would be fun, and I've just never had the opportunity to do it. And then here's what happens. All of a sudden, we decide to do this gala party the first night of our event, and so we're going all out. It's formals, we got performers coming in, and I decide, hey, let's get a comedian. So we start going out. We're getting local comedians to give us quotes. It's like pretty damn expensive. I'm like, damn, comedians make decent money. I'm like, all right, it just doesn't feel right. I'm like, I don't even know this comedian. He wants like 10 grand. So I had jokingly said to Olga, I'm like, maybe I should just do it. And all of a sudden, I'm like, she's like, haha, yeah, maybe you should. I'm like, no, really, maybe I should just do it. This could be my opportunity. So next thing you know, I have, and by the way, I wanted to do a comedy act more like Hassan Minhaj, where it's like a one-man show, where there's props and there's visuals. It's like a one-man show, one-man act, rather than like just a stand-up comedy. And it's all interlaced with one big story, with themes and messages and inspiration and jokes and kind of a core ending, like a core story. So I have this vision, and I'm like, all right, let me put this together. And it's all vulnerability. Why? Everyone knows I had an FTC issue. That shit is not a secret, and everyone in that room is going to know it. And if they don't, there's probably maybe 20 people that don't know it, and they're going to find out eventually anyways. So get out ahead of it. Talk about it. You know what people don't know? Nobody knows what I went through during that 2-3 year window, because I've never talked about it. And what everyone believes is false. Everyone thinks I soared through it and I was like flying high and it didn't even faze me. And that's because that's how I projected. But it ain't true. So no one's ever heard the story of what life was really like for me during that time. So I created an act, a show called Lemonade, The Greatest Tragedy, and I'm currently putting it together, and that's what it is. It's a deep dissection of what I went through and how I got to the point of getting that lawsuit and what I went through, and then how I climbed out of it and how it led to what is today Agentic AI. So it's this perfect culmination of story, but it's me being the most vulnerable the day before I'm going to present an opportunity for everyone in that room to invest in Agentic AI. It's perfect. I'm getting them indoctrinated into the vision. They understand the mission. They understand the redemption. They understand why I'm so committed to it. They get sold on it at a personal level. They feel like they're part of the journey. And I do so transparently, honestly, give them some good laughs, have some fun. But I'm using AI because I need help putting it together. I'm not a script writer. I'm a pretty good writer, but I haven't written scripts and acts and stuff. But AI can help. And it's been brilliant. So I brain dumped an hour and a half worth of content about my life and stories and worked with AI. I said, what are some scenes? How do I put this together? Which parts of my story do you think interlace the perfect? Here's my end goal. Here's this. It starts wrapping it all together. It starts working with me. And then I was curious, so I went out to Upwork. I was like, I wonder what it would be like to hire a professional comedian to help me. And like the ones I like are coming in at like $80 to $100 an hour. So I went and engaged one for a few hours. Sucked. I was like, dude, I would much rather work with AI. I'm getting better work here, and immediate work, and I can work with it at 3 a.m. So how do you use AI to be more vulnerable, to tell your story? Is a lot of us maybe don't know how to do that naturally, but AI can help you do it. But it's incredibly necessary now, guys. I mean, like, there is more value on your pain and the things you've suffered and the bad days you've had than there is on the good, because people want to hear the truth, and they don't want to feel alone because everyone else is going through some crap, and they don't want to feel like you're out there living there's a marketer right now where he's constantly posting just the perfect life. He's posting, and I'm sitting there thinking, I'm like, dude, this is not going to end well for you. Like, I know this story. It's not going to end well for you. So
I will say, even, I like the vulnerability piece is so important, but I just remembered that I've heard people say that even the shame, the things that you feel shame around, are often the things that go even more viral, because it's the things that people are afraid to admit. So if it's something that you're feeling like maybe you wouldn't be comfortable enough to be super honest with a human comedian, but if you're working with AI first to get through that fear and pull those onion layers back, Anik, I could see that could be an easier place to share the things that maybe you feel a little bit of shame around as well, and then have the AI convince you, yes, you've got to tell it all.
Especially ChatGPT, she's so supportive.
Exactly.
This is great. Such a yes man over there.
Yeah.
Or yes woman. Okay, so honesty, transparency, vulnerability. story. Those are our weapons going into this next
Well,
era.
and relationships and play.
Relationship,
I'm gonna add those other
play,
two in also.
brand.
I like
Wow,
the play.
those
like
are
the play.
all. And I think what's
So-
so cool is all of those are sort of almost the antithesis of an era of internet marketers, right? And so it's an inversion. It's an inversion. Sorry, Anik, you were going to say?
Can I know I wanted to, Molly brought this up and I wanted to back it up with data because she mentioned it. She talked about the campaign Jason and I did, and then we brought play into it. So there's hard data here to back up that people appreciate it. So, originally the plan was we were going to do one webinar. Jason and I were going to do the webinar. He would go first. I'd go second. We'd do one long webinar. The guy shows up with 448 slides 5 minutes before the webinar. I'm like, when the hell am I supposed to talk? Like, what the hell is going on here? And he was like, yeah, sorry, I got carried away. And I was like, no, it's great. And the webinar was amazing. I'm like, it's awesome. But I was like, there's no chance in hell I'm going to get a talk. Like, this is nuts.
And you guys started at like 8 p.m. at night or something.
Yeah, and it starts at 8, right? And so, and sure enough, we went on 4 hours. We got off at 12. So I decided right before, I'm like, hey, let's just split it up into 2 webinars. We'll spin it. It'll be good. So then we ran these ads. So after that webinar ended and before my webinar, we had about 6 days, we ran ads and I cross-compared. I ran the normal ads we're used to, right? Watch Anik build a funnel, la, 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 la. And then we ran the ads that I used to call Jason won't shut up ads. Right? And it was literally just playful ads. It was like me sitting like this, and it was like I got tired of waiting. Jason didn't let me talk. He took up all the time. He didn't shut up. And our cost of acquisition for those playful ads was coming in at like $350 per lead, which is insane for a webinar sign up, versus the other ones that were without the play were $7.
I'll cut it in half.
It cut it in half because people appreciate that, and we had fun with it. And Jason and I turned it into a little bit of a competition because we always compete on everything. So on the webinar, we kept saying like, who's better, whose presentation is going to deliver more value, and it got the audience engaged. It got people like after his webinar was over, I had a lot of people messaging me or tagging me on Facebook saying, you better bring your A game. That was amazing. Like shit. And I think it just gets everybody involved, right? Interaction. Going back to what I was talking about. So anyways, Molly, you were right to catch that, and we have data to back it.
It's so true. We love to focus on, we talk so much as marketers about the pain points, but we have a whole thing that we do around the tickle points. And can you figure out what is it that makes people laugh? Like, and it's going to be different for everybody. Like you mentioned Jeff Hunter earlier, and he and I are like the most, I was going to say bipolar, but that's not what I meant to say. The most
polar opposite,
polar opposite in what we like outwardly stand for and what we outwardly use as humor, where some of the things that he posts that are quote unquote funny are like horrific would like my people would actually run screaming. But we have a middle ground where we can cross over and respect each other for that, but being solid on your own, humor and the tickle points of your ideal client. It's a really good way to get in there and get things going. So I love it.
That was such a like brain spark for me. Tickle points. I love that. I have three young kids, and they all have different tickle points. And I think what's so fascinating is most marketing messages are very pain driven, almost to the point where if you overdo that, am I wrong? Let me get some feedback from you guys. If you overdo that, as a sophisticated buyer, I roll my eyes, even if you're right, because I kind of am like, come on, man, like, just tell me what you're offering. Like, my God, stop like going down the pathway. I know what you're doing. You're trying to push on all my pain points. Or
it becomes white noise also, right. I think sometimes it's like, yeah.
Yeah.
What a cool inversion to actually go, because it's so funny with humor is you can use humor to speak to the same things that you would with pain points, except the difference is somebody laughs and they go, you got me.
Yeah.
Like, you got me. Like, oh yeah, that's me. Or like, that's us. At that point, you've even built the relationship deeper because you're like, yeah, that's us. That's people like us. It's self-deprecating. It's a little fun. And you've just opened a door to connection and trust that pain-based copy or marketing probably wouldn't get you.
Yeah, I love it. And when you said the kids thing, it reminded me, we actually, and Anik, this goes back to your stand-up thing. I had a big realization recently that I think what I do when I speak is more like stand-up than anything, because there's always things that I haven't planned, but that they come out in the moment that I could never create if I was trying to create it just me and ChatGPT or just me speaking by myself. There's something to that energy of being in the moment with other people. And I love it, because then you can bring that into the next time that you speak. So getting into a habit of actually practicing your improv skills, your stand-up skills is really valuable. And my husband is like super on it with our kids, that when we drive, he'll do exercises where they have to like sing the names of every billboard or every building that we drive by, or turn it into a joke of some sort. So we're like constantly exercising those improv and humor muscles, which I think is a really unique skill set. And if you can find the time, yes, AI can help a little bit, but AI sometimes has a hard time being funny. So
Has a very hard time.
It's a
challenging.
very hard time.
Yeah.
Which
are
again
not good.
actually makes it a competitive advantage if you can learn to
Yeah.
get good at that. Because
Yeah.
for at least for a long time, people aren't going to be able to just auto-generate that stuff on the fly.
Well, and so much of humor is not just the words, but it's the delivery, it's the context, it's it's things that you're not going to get out of a chat GPT. It's it's for me, I'm using it purely for structuring. It's been great for that.
Yeah.
It was great at structuring the scenes. It's great at picking apart the parts of my story that are relevant and the flow of them, which was a huge thing, right? And then just kind of laying out the framework and bullet points, and then it gives me something to work with.
And we use it for humor, but like just as an example, we have a system called the Super Prompt, which is a custom GPT or an AI tool that I built that writes out a week of content for you based on buying beliefs. It's like a really awesome system. And the Friday post that we do is a funny post, but I have it write two versions. So one is a sarcastic version of a Barnum statement, which is a statement that's like, very specific. So it feels like it's only for you, but it's wide enough that it feels that way for most people in your niche. So we have a sarcastic Barnum statement and then a meme idea based on that buying belief. But every time we write that content, I give two options for the funny version, because I know it's a little tougher. So sometimes you just need to do, get in there and have it do more to be able to find the funny nuggets.
All right, so if I'm listening today, I'm picking up a whole new value system. I basically have to ignore all of the bro marketing tactics from the past. I got to go do some inner work with Molly and actually figure out who I am, my voice, my belief systems, what I stand for. And then I got to go get a little playful and funny with our marketing. What else are you guys seeing right now? And this is where I'd love to get super tactical. What's working right now? And what do you think will work? What are some of your in the lab experiments in your expert businesses? Some of the bets you're making that maybe people won't even necessarily model, but they can learn from the way you're thinking about being ahead of the curve.
I'll start with something.
Okay.
So first and foremost, more so than ever before, I believe in the concept of SLOs, low tickets, if you want to do paid traffic, because consumers are taking longer to make buying decisions and they require a relationship to some degree before they invest in a hard. And so there was a friend I was talking about who was like on the polar opposite side of me. He just does not believe or doesn't care about the brand side or anything. And their business was booming. I mean, they were doing tens of millions a year for a while, and it just fell off a cliff a few months ago to zero. And they don't have any insurance policy because they didn't build any brand equity in that time. Whereas I've had that happen multiple times in my life now, where my business, something happened like the FTC, or before that, other things had happened. And I had brand equity. I had relationships to lean on that was barely a speed bump for us, right? So from that perspective, I believe more and more in the SLO aspect of instead of trying to change how consumers behave, just lean into it. It's just, if you can't beat them, join them type of thing. So with what we're doing, even with the webinar offering, we have our board of webinars, which is a free thing. And then we kind of just, you come in and you just experience so much amazingness. You're like, forget it. Like, I'm just like this, I got to get this people money. The second thing I'll say is it's kind of more of a frame of mind of thinking. is I'm just putting in the work more than I ever did before because there's more competition. And I don't mean like hustle culture or anything like that. Let me explain what I mean. There's more competition. There's more people doing stuff online now for any topic or any niche. But I've always said that in a room, I may never, and I rarely am the smartest person in a room. I try not to ever be the smartest person in a room. But I will take personal offense if I'm in a room and I find someone that works harder than me. Like that, I won't stand for. Like I have achieved what I have achieved through earning it through hard work. So the webinar docuseries we put out, it's a board of webinars. It's 22 powerful interviews. It took me a long time to put it together, but it is an amazing asset. Brilliant, tremendous webinars, interviews with with the best people in the industry. So most of my competition, A, doesn't have the relationship with those people to even get those interviews done. B, doesn't have the will nor the desire to do 2 months of work to deliver something for free. So this isn't a free book or free PDF or free report. This is a freaking behemoth of a thing. And it's that thinking, you don't have to do that, but that thinking of how do I show up for my audience and just over deliver at such an obscene amount that I make competition or the conversation of competition absolutely useless. Like it's just irrelevant. And I think if someone can think like that, that's not new for me. I go back and I'm like, that's kind of been my MO or my, how I've worked for 2 decades. I think now though, it's just becoming like my core mantra. And I'm like very aware of it. And I'm like, okay, I have to show up for my audience. I have to go out above and beyond. So when we do an event, it's like, whatever we were thinking of doing, let's double it. Let's just really, and it may not pay off in dividends right now, but I swear it drops those little, everything counts. People see everything, and every little effort you make, it drops these little seeds and they grow over time, and that consistency, and boom, there's an ROI at some point. And that's a very difficult concept for a direct marketer to understand because it's not trackable. It's not, it's not on your conversion sheets. It's just this innate thing. And I live in that space. So that's 2 things I'm going to tell you is, that I think are going to make a big difference right now.
Well, think about this. You and I were talking about this recently, that the faster and easier something is to build, the quicker it will die. It will go off the cliff, to use your term. And I don't think this has ever been more true than now, again, especially with AI, because it's actually possible to create something acceptable nearly instantaneously, to create something moderately passable, mediocre, something okay in, a couple prompts and maybe 15 minutes. And so in an environment like that, where the market gets saturated with okay information, the only way to stand out, I think, as an expert is the depth of your expertise and the amount of time you're willing to invest to make your products so damn good that's like AI cannot replicate the depth of expertise you're doing. And so it's just so funny because I was just thinking about this, Anik, I'm in the midst of writing and publishing a book, and sometimes I complain to my wife because I've been working on this book for 3 damn years, right? I joke with people, I am on version 6 of this book. Version 6, meaning I have the different versions earmarked, each of which was a complete draft of the book, right? Version 6 of the book. And I complain, and then I remember, thankfully, because I have wise people like you in my life, that I'm like, the longer this takes to build, the more enduring value it will have. And I think that's applied both to the products, the lead magnets, the SLO funnels we create. My God, building an SLO funnel takes time. We talk about that, right? It takes time. It even takes time to sometimes see the back end conversions, but the quality and the power. I was just talking to a board of expert member the other day where they're like, my God, Anik was right. I wish I listened to him sooner. Yes, they're like, he called it. He was like, it was going to be 6 months after I launched my SLO funnel, and then everything that we did 6 months before that was going to start to kick into gear. And she's like, we're seeing it now. And now I can actually track back and go, holy smokes, our ROI on this is incredible. It's because she was willing to invest the time.
I think it's a tricky trap to fall into also, though, because I don't think you're doing this, but I see our clients doing this a lot where they don't ever put it out there because they're now trying so hard to like prove their deep expertise. And it's ironic that I've written several books, but my most recent book, AIFI Your Business, is the one that took me the longest, the one about AI, which is hilarious. But again, I was like in there tweaking more than I had on anything else. I just think we have to be careful to not fall into that trap to make sure that we actually do put things out there and recognize that in addition to the depth of the expertise, I love to say that there's no such thing really as an AI expert because it's changing. By the time we're done with this, podcast, it's going to be totally different. Something will have come out, and it's really your own expertise that you're mixing with AI that actually is going to make the AI actually work the best, which is another reason that this new Eugentic tool is going to be so amazing. But
thanks for the plug. I appreciate it.
Eugentic IQ coming soon. Everybody.
But I'll offer up some other like tactical things that we're doing in addition to the awesome that you guys just shared. One is something that I am so stoked about, which is if you have a membership, or whether it's a low ticket membership or something that's, $1,000 to $3,000 a month, like a more of a quote unquote mastermind or coaching program. There's two things that we've been doing that have been working so well. So the first is adding in what I call a no-brainer AI bonus. And so taking whatever it was that you did in the past in the form of a workbook or a guide or a checklist, yada, 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 and making that an AI tool. I know there are a lot of people doing this, but most people don't actually know how to do it. So creating your own AI tool that accelerates the results for your members as a bonus to your program with kind of a relaunch packaged around it, because now you're giving them this AI tool that helps to accelerate what they're doing. It's working so well for us. We've had multiple $300,000 months just this year. It's been amazing. The other thing that we've been doing is we have a membership that's $297 a month. And we've started adding in these longer implementation workshops and selling them separately so our members get them as a bonus, but then new people can buy them individually. And this is where it's been so, so good. We add on the option to get a free trial for a month of our membership that they have to self-select. And this is the thing that's been a little bit different. It doesn't just come with it. They have to actually click the button and add it either as an order bump or go back and actually add their credit card again. So they're reselecting, or they're additionally selecting into this membership. And it's been working so well because it's giving our current members such awesome added value. And then we can sell it as a new workshop where we're really just building together for like 4 hours. And I love it because then I get to do all the nerdy things for those 4 hours. So those two things have been working super well for us.
I want to harp on something you just said because I've noticed this as a trend, is this interesting line. I would almost call it a blurring between marketing activities and fulfillment activities that I'm seeing. And what I mean by this is historically you didn't do that. It was a closed wall. There's like an iron door. And it's like, you don't know what's in the vault. Like you got to pay to get in. Right. And I think, again, we all know free trials, consumer sentiment's changing. People want to experience it before they fully buy in. I think this is especially true for high ticket offers, right? There's a very much a try before you buy mentality. There's an Amazon Prime mentality. It's just the way of the world. And so I think what you're doing is so brilliant because it's taking the best practices of that, and it's actually giving people the ability to experience what it's like to be in your membership before they join the membership.
And what's been really great about doing it this way is it's different than doing just a simple free trial, or like we did a $1 trial for a while.
Which doesn't work a lot of times for that.
They're not as invested. But with this, it's giving them not only information up front, but implementation up front. Because I think there is so much information out there. Like we're all just barely seeing above all the information. And so giving people some hands-on time where we can all come together as a community, because community is the other thing I was thinking earlier that we haven't really touched on. In addition to the depth of expertise and in addition to the, Anik, like you mentioned with the relationships, building that community that you're brave enough to allow, you have mentioned this before as well, Anik, but making that community be better and more valuable than what they would get directly from you. So it's like use that that persona or the brand or whatever as the kind of beacon or the lighthouse, and then have this thing behind the scenes that is really, that's like what they stay for. I know, Richard, we were talking about this recently as well.
100%. So if I'm listening, I'm thinking to myself, Molly's awesome. She's doing workshops. People are coming. They're crushing crazy numbers. Molly, what are the mechanics behind that? Like, can you share a little bit? One of the things that I found so interesting that you talked about recently is you talked about some of the unique ways you guys are weaving AI into your product model. So to be clear, it's not just that you're doing, AI bundled little bundles, upsells, whatever. And it's not just that you're doing workshops on AI. You guys are actually building these almost like choose your own adventure paths for your customers. And to me, it was sort of like this mind expanding concept that bust through the limiting beliefs around like, well, people don't want to buy courses anymore. And you're like, hold my beer. Can you talk a little bit about that? Like what are you guys doing behind the scenes there that people can learn from or model potentially?
So I'll tell you one that's like really sneaky, and I probably shouldn't talk about it out loud, but I'm going to tell you what it is. So, and I don't know if you guys have experienced this, but we have in all of our memberships, we have 3 different levels. And in all 3 of them, they have to go through this foundational training that helps them to build out what we call their brand voice blueprint and their company details document, really sexy name. But if they skip that stuff, the rest of the things that we're doing don't work, right? Even though inside the portal, we've actually separated it out and we have a course that's called the Start Here course. And it says everyone needs to go to the Start Here course. People still get in their own heads and then they like, oh, I don't know what to do. I don't know how to get started. And it's like, did you try the Start Here course? Oh, thank you. Right? It's like so stupid. And we all do it as humans. So what I did was I used Base 44 to create it. And what I did was I created this. It's not even a quiz. It's like an AI tool that they can go into and they get to answer all these questions, and then it maps out the perfect unique path for them. But guess what the first step is for every single person, no matter what they answer?
Hard here.
Right here. So it's like, but it makes them feel like it's bespoke. It makes them feel like, oh, I'm giving you on a silver platter your individual plan, which is to go to the Start Here thing. And then it's varied after that. But man, getting them to do the first step is sometimes the hardest piece. And so having that AI tool has been really helpful. We've also, for every workshop that we do, I now build out a workshop app. So for this, we're doing a build-a-thon tomorrow that is to build out your own AI sales team that will follow up. We built a really cool Chrome extension that I'm obsessed with that follows you around the internet. It's called Deskhop AI. And this Chrome extension is connected to, it's a chatbot that's connected to the backside of High Level. So I can go in and I can ask it like, hey, this person just commented, tell me all the tags that they have. And then it sent me this huge list of tags. I then did a video and I said, hey, I just saw that you commented wanting this free thing. It's time that you buy. Look what my AI assistant just told me. And she bought because I sent her what the AI assistant had told me. So we're teaching this tomorrow. Like, so good. We're teaching this tomorrow. But today we're doing a workshop where we are like the prep workshop to get everyone to do their brand voice and to get their tools in line. And instead of just giving them a Google Doc that shows them what to do, we gave them an interactive, just like you said with the interactive marketing, it's an interactive experiential prep guide that is inside this app that we built with Base 44. And then they can see their progress. It's like, it's so awesome. And so we're creating more and more of these interactive habit trackers and things that write their copy or create their videos or whatever it is. It's been really, really cool.
I was just about to check for you, Anik. I haven't gotten there quite yet, but interactivecourses.com. We may need to buy that one. Or maybe have Molly buy
Don't put it out there. Beep it out. Porva.
Quick.
Beep it out.
Beep it out. We got to get it first, Anik.
Dude, I already had to pay 10 grand for the other one. You're just trying to...
Bro, I just paid $7,000 for a domain, and I was like, I really hope I use this one, because the last expensive one I bought, I didn't use.
That's so true. I have quite a few really expensive ones I've not used. But
yeah,
one of my favorites that we're finally building is we have contentcreatortools.com. I am so stoked. So we're building it out with all of our tool recommendations, our affiliate links, our own tools that we're building. I'm really excited about it.
I always joke that you can tell how far swung someone is on the entrepreneurial spectrum by how many domain names they own. But I want to quickly, before we hop off this, that is brilliant, Molly. It injects. So here's what's so interesting, I think, about the expert space. For a long time, the path to scale required killing customization and personalization. Right? Everybody was like, package your expertise in a pre-templated linear course that everybody goes through no matter their circumstances. And if they don't like it, not ghostlight them. What's the term? Gaslight them, right? If they don't like it, gaslight them, right? Tell them they have mindset issues, right? Come on, you guys know I'm not lying, right? And so what's so amazing about this revolution of AI is what you just said is you basically just gave every single one of your students a private tutor, an AI private tutor. Yes. Where you basically have unlocked personalization and customization, which, by the way, it's not even just about, as you said, the fact that it is customized to them. It's about how it makes them feel and what that does for their motivation and staying power to see it through. Yeah. Brilliant.
So it is actually about their mindset. You weren't gaslighting them.
But now we're tricking them into it. Slightly less manipulative, slightly.
You know, and I taught at a high school a couple of years ago. I decided to do something totally insane. I taught social media marketing at our local performing arts high school for an entire year in the middle of everything else I was doing. And manipulation is something that came up because people were, these high school kids were like, oh, marketing is manipulation. That's like not what we're about, leaning back into what you were talking about earlier with this generation. And one of the girls in the class who I loved so much, she said, you guys, manipulation is not bad. It just means that you're moving things in a certain way. If we look at it, manipulation can actually be manipulating for good. And I think that is something that's maybe risky to say, and I could be quoted in a bad way by saying that. But I think we as human beings have we are called to actually stand for something good in all of this. And we all have the same communication tools at our fingertips. And we can either use it to create something really amazing and make a huge impact on people, or we can use it to be evil and trick people and gaslight them and all these different things, right? So I think we have a duty to manipulate for good.
I just came up with the email we're going to send out to promote this podcast. The subject line is going to say, quote, manipulation is good, unquote, says Molly Mahoney. That's the subject line.
Perfect.
The subject line.
How to use AI to manipulate your audience.
Yeah. I laugh when you're like, that's just not, what did you say? That's just not what we're about. Oh, these kids. I love how they talk. Just talking their own language.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, hey, I've got to run. And so I don't know if you want to continue with Molly or not.
Yeah,
We all have to run. All right. So I will just say this to everybody. Marketing has absolutely changed. And if you're still following the tactics that were taught even as little as 5 years ago, that's why you're having an issue. I'm sorry. You have to relearn a few things. And ironically, being good, honest, and genuine is what's selling the most. So it's funny because it's really easy, but it's like really not. And that's the catch of it. So for some people, it'll be very
that's
easy
the opportunity is that most people aren't going to be brave enough to actually do what's actually working, which is, being more human. So here we go.
Love it. Being human is harder than we thought. Thanks, everybody. What a great episode. Check out the show notes for resources. Much love. See you on the next show.
See you soon.
Yeah.